Well, isn't that a little Christmassy? Oh my goodness. I wonder what that is. Holy smokes. Good morning, everybody. Oh, I didn't change the thumbnail. Hang on. I'll be here in a second. I promise. Let me fix this really before I even come over here. Although the snow one doesn't hurt, but I want the right thumbnail up here. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. I know you don't see my face yet, but I'll remedy that in a couple seconds with this beautiful little Christmassy jingle going on here. Hi, there's my face. So the biggest news, at least from the media standpoint, obviously is this House race for the Speaker of the House. I'll turn this down a little more. And I got all kinds of stuff about it because, well, I don't know, because that's what everyone's talking about. And since it is FTG Thursday, I thought I'd throw in some Dan Crenshaw because he's opened his mouth and basically sounds like an idiot. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We got other stuff, but not a whole lot. Just since I'm late, we'll do it. But hey, I do have some news about some programming things that finally, 6 months into it, it's finally going to happen. I'll tell you about that after the intro. Johnny, turn this jingle belly stuff off and play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Yes, I am here. And we got a donut right now, too, but I'll take care of that in a minute. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel on this Thursday, the 5th of January, 2023. I got the microphone on, the mute's off. I've got the music played right, and everything worked this morning because I am thinking ahead. So anyway, hi, how are you? I am happy to see you guys in the chat. There's several of you already. I'm glad to see that. No. Okay, there, I'm better. Do me a favor, share the stream though, because it helps. It helps a lot to do that, and that's the only way people are going to know we're here. The more, the merrier. But I have a programming note that might help that along a little bit, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But first, we have our first sponsor today, and it's FTG Farms. So hey,
you are the new
FTG. Yes, that's for FTG Farms. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Longtime sponsor of the Morning Night Live. If you're not familiar with FTG Farms, well, they actually do farm the finest. Wait, it's a little early in the stream to start swearing, but it's a farm. F's farm. You know what I mean by F's. Anyway, FTG Farm says, Merry FTG. On the first FTG Thursday of 2023, FTG Farms gave to me an FTG to Dan Crenshaw and the rhinos in the GOP. FTG Farms would like to wish Dan Crenshaw and the other rhinos a hearty FTG. May they stub their toe and walk on broken glass for all eternity. Well, there we go. Happy FTG to Dan Crenshaw. We haven't even talked about him yet, and we're already throwing out an FTG to him. Yeah, I agree. Thank you, FTG Farms. Who's the CEO of FTG Farms? Best friend is Tyre Alexander. Tyre Alexander, thank you. Be sure to thank the FTG CEO for me. All right. And also I wanted yesterday I mentioned that obese was trending. Did I mention that? And the goofy lady who's talking about obese, I can't remember if that was it. Oh no, there was a fat phobia video yesterday, and today obese was trending. And it was weird because there's this woman on the internet. Let me see if I can find this, because I didn't really pull this up because I was thinking about something else. Here it is. This woman on the internet. Maybe I did read this. I don't know if I did or not, but there was this, and she's not happy right now. She's blocking a lot of people. Someone named Leah on Twitter. Oh my gosh, and now there's context added to this. Holy smokes. So here's what Leah said on the internet. Crazy woman. Said the term obese is a slur because it is used to dehumanize us and harass us. It's not because our feelings are hurt by an accurate description. It is an outdated term that does more harm than good, and as such should be eradicated. That's it. Now, this person got kind of beat up on the internet. Now there's a reader's context note. Readers add context they thought people want to know. Obese is a technical term. According to the WHO, overweight and obesity are defined as abnormal or excessive fat accumulation that presents a risk to health. At body mass index over 25 is considered overweight. Over 30 is obese. Now, I'm pretty sure I fit that category right now, but we'll fix that someday. But it's a medical term. Yes, Maddie, you're right. It's a medical term. And the reason I thought about this is because yesterday when we were talking about the goofy lady talking about fat phobia, I wanted to I want to shout out. I shouted out Jimmy Das Hotep because Jimmy Das Hotep has been a successful eradicator of obeseness, and he sent me this before and after picture, and I'm pretty sure he won't mind that I show this. But this is Jimmy Das Hotep before and after. Now, this is, I mean, like I said, this guy is an inspiration to me right now. There's Jimmy Das Hotep back when he was around 450 pounds in 2009. And now this is Jimmy Das Hotep today, who is just a workoutaholic, and he's killing it. He's killing it. And he every once in a while he shows up on Twitter. He shows us some of his workouts just to try to motivate some of the rest of the Hotep Nation people. And I can't give anything but props to Jimmy Das Hotep. So that is just awesome. I love it. So proud of you, brother, and keep at it, man. Let's say good morning to everyone in the chat, and then we'll move on. Thank you again, Tyler Alexander, for being the first sponsor today. If you want to sponsor the show, this side. You can sponsor the show at pdognight.live or YouTube Super Chats or Venmo Cash App, whatever you want to do. And then share the stream, because that's the most important right now. And hit the like button if you're here. Hey, if you're here and you like it, you stick around because you like it and you come back. So, let's just keep that thing going. All right, let's say good morning. First in the chat over on Rumble would be Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Whoops, wrong one button. There you go. That's this one. There. Let's try that again. Also, good morning to Mike Savage, Blarg, Simon Wolfwood, Jay Pylon, and Jimmy Das Hotep. I guess I could do that for both of you guys. Good morning, and thanks for watching on Rumble. If you are subscribed only on YouTube, I kindly encourage you to also subscribe on Rumble. That will make it easier on those times when I lose my privileges at YouTube, which is possible any given moment, because you never know how far back they're going to go back and find something they don't like. Although my last experience with that, they finally saw the light and said, hey, this was over a year and a half old. We're going to remove that strike and let you have your channel back. Of course, here's the funny thing about that. Now, this is hilarious. I got to show you this too. I got a message from Team YouTube. What day was that? What did I get this message from Team YouTube? Let me see if I can find this. Let's see. There's my notifications. Team YouTube sent me a message yesterday. It was yesterday. This is the message I got from Team YouTube. Now, mind you, this on December 13th, December 13th, YouTube did, what did they do? YouTube locked me out of my channel for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks because of a video that I done something in a video from 15 months ago where they said I was doing some election misinformation, blah, 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 whatever. Who cares? It was 15 months old, right? But I got a strike and a 2-week suspension, right? And that was December 13th. Now, a week later, the following Friday, without notifying me, YouTube removed the strike. I complained to them on the 13th. They sent me a message back on the 13th saying first recommended filling out an appeal form, which I had already done, but that never worked. So I went to, I went to Team YouTube on Twitter, which is right here. And I said, already done, does not outline the decision. Okay. It said first recommend filling out an appeal form. Here's how, blah, blah, blah. I've already done that, right? So, and then it didn't tell me what the problem was, giving it a timestamp or anything. And then update, mind sharing the suspended channel. This is on the same day, so we can look into this. I'm like, it's such a waste of time dealing with Team YouTube, even on Twitter sometimes. So I did anyway. And they'd come and tell me, It looks like your channel's active. It means that the appeal you submitted was accepted. If you're referring to another channel, share the URL. Now, at that time, I still locked out of my channel. Of course, the channel was active. It's just I couldn't do anything. I was still like I was suspended. So then December 14th, blah, blah, blah. So remember, on, let's see, I think it was a week later, on December, I think 21st. What was it was the Friday of that week, whatever. December 21st, I realized that they had removed the strike. They let me back in to do all my function in the channels, rather than going a 2-week. It was 1 week later, okay? And I resumed, and you all were here when I resumed both on YouTube and on YouTube, right? Yesterday was the 4th of January. Yesterday, I get this from Team YouTube. Following up, this was a mistake during the review process and your videos are back up. The strike will be removed from your channel too. We're sorry this happened and appreciate your patience while we work to fix it. That was beyond even the 2 weeks that I would have been suspended. So apparently maybe they put my, I don't know. I did go back to look to see if they put the videos back up. I should probably do that too. But it was first of all, I shouldn't have gotten a strike for one. I shouldn't have gotten my channel suspended, number 2. And number 3, it took them more than the 2 weeks that I was supposed to be suspended to even notify me that I was unsuspended, even though I had already been unsuspended at least more than 10 days before they sent me the message. So YouTube is mighty efficient and they're fantastic and whatever. All right, I should probably say hi to people on YouTube too. While we're talking about YouTube, first in the channel on the chat over on YouTube is also Advocatus Diablo, who gets the bell. Also, good morning, Tyrannus, Alexandrius, Tremerlich, Tyre Alexander, Somnambul Nation, good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg, Jimmy Das Hotep, Trippy Liberties in the house, let's see, HP Lovecraft, good morning, sir. Also, Attack Alpaca, Simon Wolfwood, Jay Pylon was in the house, DI Freighter Watcher, and I'm getting caught up here. I'm way down here. Also Lord Stanhope, good morning. I see scrolling. Chicago Mike, good morning. Hello. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Maddie's in the house. Jess Phillips, the greatest son on the planet. Who says, I love the reader's context on Twitter. Yeah, they're great, aren't they? I love that. And Alyssa P. And the baby's good. She's watching the show with us. Oh, they showed me the picture. Sent me a picture of her watching the show the other day. That was so cute. All right. So, thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep. I just saw you also put a sponsor show. Jimmy Das Hotep, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Who says, thank you so much. I really hope to inspire others to health. If anyone wants to chat, I'm available to talk health and fitness. Twitter is the easiest way to get me. Okay, and if you want to follow Jimmy Das Hotep on Twitter, it's at Jimmy, Jimmie, capital, DOSS. Not the whole Jimmy Das Hotep, but just Jimmy Das. Jimmie DOSS. Follow Jimmy on Twitter. Like I said, he's quite the inspiration. And then also good morning to Blink, a.k.a. Gulf City DCC 182, who I call Blink because I just think it's funny. All right. Shall we get into the show today? Let's see. First, one of the things that was trending on my trend line here was good old Dan Crenshaw. Now, we've been watching this House Speaker thing go on for the last couple days, and it's only been a couple days. I mean, Jesus, it's not like they don't spend a lot of time doing stupid shit in the House of Representatives anyway, ceremonial shit and blah blah blah. So, but there's people who are getting a little testy, so to speak, about this thing with the House of Representatives. And so Dan Crenshaw is trending because of some shit he said. And I want to take you to a Tucker Carlson clip first, because I think, let me take you the clip from where he says this thing, because he's really upset that these people who are don't want to have Kevin McCarthy be Speaker of the House. He's really upset that they won't just capitulate and not get anything they're asking for. He thinks they're let me just play the clip, because if you haven't heard this, you're gonna be like, what did he say? Did he really say what I just thought he said? This is how mad Dan Crenshaw is about these people who are not allowing Kevin McCarthy to be Speaker of the House. By the way, they've gone through 8 votes already. They've done it 8 times, and every time Kevin McCarthy has lost. Here is Dan Crenshaw on the Guy Benson radio show, I believe. Here we go.
Get another scalp and another scalp, whether it's Boehner or Paul Ryan or then McCarthy. Scalise would just be next, and we all know it. We just can't allow that to happen. That's why those of us are saying, like, look, you pushed us into this corner, so now we're saying we won't vote for anyone but McCarthy. Okay. That's why we're saying it, because we cannot let the terrorists win.
Whoa. Wait. We can't let the what? We can't let the what?
McCarthy. That's why we're saying it, because we cannot let the terrorists win. That's basically what's happening. Get another scalp. Another scalp.
Shut up. Stop it. We cannot let the terrorist win. He just called 20 members of the House of Representatives, of which he is part of that body. He just described them as terrorists. Because they don't want Kevin McCarthy to be Speaker. Terrorist. Now, what's funny is, we'll get through this. There's a whole lot more to talk about on this, but here's Tucker Carlson's take on that particular thing there, which I thought this is pretty good too.
Yet today, Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas, a surrogate for Kevin McCarthy, did. In fact, he did what neocons always do. He labeled anyone who doesn't like a terrorist. Watch.
Those of us are saying, like, look, you pushed us into this corner, so now we're saying we won't vote for anyone but McCarthy. That's why we're saying it, because we cannot let the terrorists win.
Oh, they're terrorists now. It's hard not to see the connection, because over the past few years, pretty much every part of the war on terror has been turned against the domestic political enemies of the neocons.
Patriot Act.
So now they're just coming out and telling you what they told you about Iraq. Either you're with us or you're against us. You're on the side of light or darkness. You're good or evil. Dan Crenshaw went all the way, as neocons always do. He proceeded to go to CNN to call his political opponents enemies of the state. Looking for a little Soviet-style politics? Watch this.
This handful of members is very clearly looking for notoriety over.
Now, this is fascinating, too. By the way, Dan Crenshaw he's saying they're looking for notoriety. Dan Crenshaw has been interviewed on several outlets over the last 24 hours. It's amazing that he goes running to the cameras, and I haven't seen these guys on the cameras, but
Principle. That's what it is. And anyone who suggests differently is in some kind of make-believe fantasy reality. But if you're a narcissist, if you're a narcissist and you believe that your opinion is so much more important than everyone else's, and you keep going.
You seem to think your opinion is more important than everybody else's.
For the benefit of the Democrats, just because of your own sense of self-importance. That's exactly what's happening here. We will not vote for anyone else but McCarthy. These people think they're stubborn, we're stubborn. They think they're not going to get the committees they want. Well, obviously they won't, but it's going to be so much worse than that.
Well, maybe McCarthy should step down.
So you may like Kevin McCarthy or not. Both are allowed. But no matter how you feel, you have to acknowledge, if you're being honest, that people who don't like Kevin McCarthy have a reason for that. They have real concerns, real issues.
No,
but
they're just
Dan
narcissists.
Crenshaw didn't address any of those.
No, they're just
None
narcissists.
Of them. Instead,
they're just narcissists. That's all
motives,
they could be. That's
their
all the
character,
impossible thing, right?
Their intelligence, their moral standing. They're narcissists. In fact, and we're quoting, they are enemies now.
Jimmy says on Rumble, call me terrorist, Jimmy Das Hotep. Now, look, I understand the people that are who are doing this. Eye Patch McCain should shut the fuck up. I think I completely understand where they're coming from. I think it's these people put a lot of time and effort into the issues they want to push forward, and the ones they want to put to a vote are ones that Kevin McCarthy could do. And even if they didn't pass, at least he would, live up to his word. But for whatever reason, he doesn't want to do that. And that's all they're asking. And since he won't do that, he's saying, well, then we don't want you there. And the idea to call them terrorists, though, I'm just amazed by the rhetoric coming out of Dan Crenshaw's mouth. Although maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not so amazed. But anyway, we'll come back to that because there's a few housekeeping things I want to do before we get too deep into this whole thing about the Kevin McCarthy thing. First, if Sinatra Says, a friend of the channel here, has had a YouTube channel had a channel on YouTube for many, many years. I think he's going on 8 or 9 years. And he is going to stop using his Sinatra Says channel so much. There was a message on Twitter here where Sinatra says, goodbye to this channel, but I'm not done. How to find me going forward. If you go to his Twitter feed, the new channel he's going to be putting up. Part of the problem is a while back, I'll leave this link here. In fact, let's see. Do I have the video up? I think I do. I have both his channel up here. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a link to this video of why he's shutting down, not necessarily shutting down this channel, but basically he's going to stop using it. And if you've never seen Sinatra, that's what Sinatra looks like in real life. This is the first time I've actually ever seen a picture of Sinatra. But anyway, a while back, they demonetized his channel, never gave him the money they owed him, and has basically every time he opens a new channel under the Sinatra umbrella, they immediately demonetize it. Now he still gets, stuff by super chats and stuff like that, but he's just at his wit's end with YouTube. So he is going to be doing it. No, it wasn't his first face reveal. I just hadn't seen it, so I'd never really looked. So anyway, he's going to completely start over on YouTube. And I'll have links to both those channels. But if you want to hear the explanation, the video here will be in the links, and then also links to his 2 new channels where he'll be posting new content and just basically starting over. So if you're a Sinatra fan, definitely go subscribe to him at those 2 channels and go watch that explanation. Also on the list, things I need to do. I'll come back to this one. So wait a minute. Oh shoot, I've ruined it. Now, another thing I wanted to do. Oh, thank you, Chicago Mike, by the way. Thank you, Chicago Mike. I appreciate that. And Chicago Mike, you are the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. And right here, there we go.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day.
Dropping a big bullet in the tip jar saying, I nominate Marty, a.k.a. P-Dog Knight, as Speaker of the House. Oops, am I becoming a terrorist? Oh. Can we nominate Charlie McCarthy? He's Edward Bergen's dummy instead. Yeah. What's funny too? Now, thank you again, Chicago Mike. Appreciate it. Anybody can be Speaker of the House. Did you know that? You don't have to be in Congress to be Speaker of the House. In fact, I think who was it made the joke yesterday? I think it was Lauren Boebert. She was on Sean Hannity. And Sean Hannity, boy, God, he's an idiot. Or at least on this particular subject. She even said, oh, well, maybe we should nominate Donald Trump because they've talked about that before, but that ain't happening. But anyway, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Episkipos 5Z, good morning, sir. Good to see you. So before the other thing I wanted to talk about before I got into this, you know who Adam Kinzinger is, right? Adam Kinzinger, the now former congressperson, who cries a lot and was on the January 6th committee. I was going to say, you'll never guess where he's ending up. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure I predicted this a long time ago. I said, because I guess that Liz Cheney, no longer in Congress, but she was on the January 6th committee. I assume that she's probably going to make the foolhardy idea of running for president. And I said, Adam Kinzinger will probably end up as a CNN analyst. And lo and behold, I opened my Twitter thingy, whatever, yesterday. And look what happened. This is from The Independent. Anti-Trump Republican Adam Kinzinger revealed in a new role as a CNN pundit. Now, who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? In fact, did I say something funny about that on Twitter? I probably did. I'm not the funny guy, but I think I said something to the effect. Oh, wait. I'm pretty sure I tweeted it. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find because somebody laughed about it. And so I know it was somewhat funny. What was it? Let's see. It was something to the effect of, I can't believe it. Did this really happen? Did he end up is this true? I'm silly me. What the hell? What the hell's going on with my computer here? This is really driving me nuts. By the way, thank you, Maddie, Trippy Liberty, Soundable Nation, all for tweeting out the show. I greatly appreciate it. Let's see. No, I said, no, you don't say. I can't believe it. This never happens. Nobody could have seen this coming. What an unusual turn of events. Can you believe it? I'm stunned that Adam Kinzinger. Then here is CNN welcoming Adam Kinzinger to the team. Join us in welcoming Adam Kinzinger to CNN as a senior political commentator. Welcome to This is CNN. Yeah, how exciting. Here's a Breitbart article. Former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger will join CNN as a contributor now that the January 6th committee has been dissolved, as has his congressional career. Good morning to Why Are You So Angry, too. I didn't see you there. And Lord Stanhope and Selected Boys in the house. Yeah, and Aaron Meredith. Everyone started to roll in. It must be how long it takes for those notifications to come from YouTube. And also over on the Rumble side, good morning to the one who just discovered Dr. Shiva. He's base as F, throwing all the liars under the bus. What up, Marty? Yeah, I've known about Dr. Shiva for a while. In fact, didn't he run for the Senate in Massachusetts at one point? I thought he was trying to, but I didn't think he'd get to the primaries. Anyway, so Adam Kinzinger, CNN announced on Wednesday that Kinzinger, the other Republican who served on the January 6th committee alongside former Representative Liz Cheney from Wyoming, would be joining the network as a senior political commentator. Unlike Cheney, who was defeated in a primary by Harriet Hageman, Kinzinger chose not to run for re-election after serving 6 terms representing his Illinois district. So there's CNN welcoming him again. Kinzinger has heated up his anti-Trump and anti-Republican rhetoric in recent days, charging the party will become a hotbed of extremists under the former President Donald Trump's leadership. Speaking to This is CNN on New Year's Day, Kinzinger said that he fears for the country's future if the former president does not get indicted. Look, the country will go on. We've been through some pretty bad shit in this country, and even if you believe that would be bad, which I don't even think it would be terrible, I'm sorry. I just don't see this as an earth-shattering, country-ending event if Donald Trump is not indicted. In fact, I think you're going to have less upheaval if he is not indicted, because I don't think you have anything to really indict him for. But of course, you'd get a DC jury that would convict a ham sandwich. Anyway, but he is convinced that the president incited an insurrection. And whatever. So, Adam Kinzinger, new CNN senior analyst, a political analyst. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? So, that's juicy. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about this whole... Let's see. Oh, I saved this because I had more Dan Crenshaw stuff. Okay, well, I don't need it in 2 places here. There's more Dan Crenshaw stuff in the links if you are so disposed to check that out. But yeah, Tucker was brutal on Mr. Crenshaw. Oh, there was another one too. Someone in this Dan Crenshaw thread said that Dan Crenshaw didn't call them terrorists, and so I had to check them by showing them the clip from the Guy Benson show. So that actually happened. All right, so there may be some extra tips. All right, let's get into the let's go in the Mediaite story on this too, because this is kind of related too. It's all related to the Kevin McCarthy debacle. Tucker Carlson rips snarling-faced Dan Crenshaw after Congressman calls McCarthy holdouts a terrorist. Tucker Carlson called Representative Dan Crenshaw the snarling face of the donor class. Oh, my. And also, by the way, Dan Crenshaw might be one of the greatest stock market prognosticators in Congress. His stock portfolio has been amazing since he joined Congress. I mean, I think even better than Nancy Pelosi's. That is some super duper punditry coming from in the stock areas of things. Anyway, Crenshaw is firmly in McCarthy's corner as 20 Republicans continue to deny him the speakership. Tuesday, Crenshaw referred to those opposing McCarthy as narcissists and enemies. I mean, he's really thrown out the language and that's funny because in these interviews that Crenshaw's been doing, it's interesting that he's not one time mentioned any of the concerns of those who are opposing McCarthy. That's interesting. Anyway, Crenshaw later then Wednesday he called them terrorists while speaking with Guy Benson. We cannot let the terrorist win, he said. Now, Crenshaw later defended his language while speaking to reporter Henry Rogers of the Daily Caller. Carlson, who co-founded the Daily Caller but is no longer affiliated with the outlet, took on the congressman. Now let's just watch it. I mean, there was more than just that little clip we saw. Let's go here.
So if people oppose you in an election, typically you try and win
them over. Oh, no,
this
is the same clip. This is the same clip. But no, it's not, because there's a little more.
You assuage their concerns. You promise them things. You wheel, you deal, you trade some horses, you massage their egos. You don't scream at them. And yet today, Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas, a surrogate for Kevin McCarthy, did. In fact, he did what
it is the
neocons
same
always
clip,
do.
so we just
He
saw
labeled anyone he doesn't like a terrorist. Watch.
Okay, so we saw this clip already, but anyway. All right, now let's talk about. Now there is a possible breakthrough. This was as of yesterday evening. With this whole issue with the people who are voting no on him, a conservative and influential Club for Growth announced it cut a deal with the super PAC affiliated with House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, signaling a possible movement in the House Speaker race after a stalemate had resulted in no speaker. Through 6 rounds of voting as of Wednesday afternoon, it turned into 8 rounds as of Wednesday evening. The deal with McCarthy-affiliated super PAC and the Congressional Leadership Fund involves CLF agreeing to stay out of open seat Republican primaries in safely red districts. So what they're saying is they're not going to. So this is something they did really dumb in the midterms. For whatever reason, the congressional groups, they put money into the House races where some House members were running for re-election or election unopposed, like wasting money there instead of putting money into some of the candidates that, well, let's just say Kevin McCarthy wasn't all that fond of. Kind of like Mitch McConnell and the Senate candidates he wasn't so fond of. Instead of spending money to get Lisa Murkowski back from Alaska because she was losing in Alaska. And so Mitch McConnell put all the money out there in Alaska to defeat another Republican because it was 2 Republicans running against each other. Instead of, going for, Republican candidates in states that were closer races that they lost, he spent his money in Alaska to beat another Republican. Well, McCarthy and his affiliated super PACs, weren't too happy with some of the House candidates that that guy with the funny hair endorsed. And so they were putting money in, they were still putting money in camps that were not even like running for re-election unopposed. Why are you campaigning in a place where you're running unopposed? or very super safe districts. Let's put it that way. So now they say they're not going to put money into safe districts. This really didn't have, I don't think this was a big issue though with the 20 who are voting against Kevin McCarthy. So, but it's an interesting development, right? So now let's talk about Byron Donalds, because he was the one of the people that people nominated, one of the congressmen people nominated for the Speaker of the House. Byron Donalds from Florida, who was nominated to be Speaker of the House, said Wednesday that it's not unreasonable for House Republicans to demand the requirement that one person be able to raise a motion to vacate the chair, because it's a rule that existed for 100 years before then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi changed the rules. And this is regarding, what's it called? There's a name for this. Is it inversion? I don't know. Anyway, during an interview with Fox News, America Reports, Donalds said he disagreed with the premise that one can't lead or govern with the option of one person being able to raise a motion to vacate the chair hanging over their head all the time. The motion to vacate, it's called the motion to vacate. By the way, good morning, Aaron Meredith. I see you. Oh, no, and wait, who just came in? Brent Hayes. Hi, Brent Hayes. The motion to vacate, I know this is really inside baseball for a lot of American people, Donald said. Let me explain. It has actually been a rule in Congress for more than 100 years. Any member could do that. Nancy Pelosi is the person who got rid of that rule. So as Republicans, are we saying that we have to live under the rules of Nancy Pelosi? That's the only way to govern in Washington? I think that's not appropriate at all. Roberts pointed out that Representative Kevin McCarthy offered the option of changing the rules to require 5 members to vote to vacate the chair when it used to be 1 before Nancy Pelosi. When asked why that's not good enough, Donald says because, again, any member who's duly elected should have the ability to call that question. The real question is that if you're leading our conference and really leading the House of Representatives and you are doing the job, you shouldn't be concerned about the ability of one member to bring a motion. That should not be the concern, and that's something I communicated directly to a lot of people, the congressman said. The motion to vacate is something that is a simple tool available to members, but it's not really used by members. It's only been used twice in the last 100 years. It does not speak more loudly to concerns about the ability to effectively lead the chamber if that's what the concern is. It shouldn't be a concern, and this is the thing I want to make sure the American people understand. So, now let's see. Donald said he spoke briefly to McCarthy this morning, but he wouldn't share the details of their conversation. Anyway, this is one of the people. Now, there's something interesting about Byron Donalds being nominated, though, to be the Speaker of the House. Hello, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Good morning, sir. The interesting thing about Mr. Donalds being nominated to possibly being the Speaker of the House is Mr. Donalds is a brother from Florida, the Republican from Florida, that's his brother, right? And so it's in some ways it's historic that 2 of the 3 candidates for Speaker of the House in the House of Representatives were black fellows. Okay? Now, here's an interesting thing that happened yesterday. House Democrats couldn't bring themselves to applaud Martin Luther King Jr. on Wednesday. Now, let me explain. As House Republicans failed to elect a new speaker after several votes, Texas Republican Chip Roy nominated Byron Donalds of Florida. Roy began the nomination, which challenges Kevin McCarthy, the outgoing GOP minority leader, for the top position in the House by highlighting Donald's race as Democrats nominate New York Representative Hakeem Jeffries. Now, I don't think he should. Well, here, I'll get his words to you first because I didn't think it was necessary for him to mention race. But when you're dealing with Democrats, sometimes you have to play their game. Now, he says, now here we are. For the very first time in history, there have been 2 black Americans placed into the nomination for Speaker of the House, Roy said, ahead of the 4th vote. The proclamation was met with roaring applause and a standing ovation as lawmakers on each end of the chamber celebrated the racial milestone 158 years after the end of slavery. However, Roy continued, we do not seek to judge people by the color of their skin, but rather than the content of their character. Republicans stood again to cheer the mantra, which was popularized by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. just 2 miles west on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in 1963. But most Democrats across the aisle, captivated by a form of identity politics that is obsessed with skin color, remain seated with their arms crossed. Oh, my. Oh, my goodness. The juxtaposition between the two parties says everything about the state of American relations today. Is this the link? Is this the video of
purpose
this?
does the gentleman from Texas
Let's
rise?
listen to this.
I seek to place a nomination for Speaker.
The gentleman is recognized.
Yesterday, my first vote for Speaker of the House was for Byron Donalds. Today, I'm rising to nominate Byron Donalds for Speaker of the House of Representatives. Byron is a dear friend, a solid conservative.
Guam is going to tip over. Oh, Lord.
But most importantly,
don't talk about Hank Johnson.
A family man who loves dearly his wife, Erica, his 3 children, has a proven track record as a businessman, public service in the Florida legislature, and now as a member of the United States Congress. Now, here we are, and for the first time in history, there have been 2 black Americans placed into the nomination for Speaker of the House.
So there's some Republicans clapping, yes. And yes. Oh, we'll get to that, D.I. We'll get to it. Hold on, D.I. Don't foreshadow, because I'm going to tell you what Cori Bush said about this in a minute. Okay, so here are the Republicans. Everyone stood for that. Everyone stood up. Yay, good, good, good. Now, let's see what he says right after this.
However,
hold up.
Order.
However,
we do not seek to judge people by the color of their skin, but rather the content of their character.
Oh,
Byron Donalds.
Yeah, now the Republicans are clapping again. What are the Democrats doing? What are the Democrats doing? Oh, some are clapping, but some got their hand. Look, a lot of these people just sitting down here and they ain't doing shit. They didn't like that. Okay, that's enough of that clip. We need to see the whole thing. But anyway, now this is foreshadowing into what this is foreshadowing into what that would lead to by a certain representative. Cori Bush from the state of Missouri. Yes, Black Hebrew Israelite. McDonald's is the black face of white supremacy. Well, you're close. Cori Bush from Missouri said Representative Donalds is a prop and accuses him of perpetuating, you guessed it, white supremacy. Democratic Missouri Representative Cori Bush accused Republican Florida Representative Byron Donalds of, quote, perpetuating white supremacy, end quote, after he was nominated to challenge Speaker-designate Kevin McCarthy on Wednesday. Well, Speaker-designate? No. He's not Speaker-designate. He's still a candidate. Anyway, Republicans Representative Chip Roy of Texas and Lauren Boebert of Colorado nominated Donalds to challenge McCarthy on the 4th and 5th ballots. Donald garnered 20 votes from the anti-McCarthy representatives in the Republican conference, which prevented McCarthy from receiving the 218 votes needed to be handed the gavel. And here's what Cori Bush tweeted out. For what it's worth, Byron Donalds, a black man, she didn't say that, I did, is not a historic candidate for speaker. He is a prop. Despite being black, he supports a policy agenda intent on upholding and perpetuating white supremacy. His name being in the mix is not progress, it's pathetic. See, according to some people, there's only one way to be black enough. Yes, Byron Donalds is a intent on upholding and perpetuating white supremacy. I'm sure that's what it is. Oh my God. Donald switched his support for McCarthy on the third ballot to elect the next Speaker of the House. He voted for himself on the fourth and fifth ballots, where he earned support from 20 of his colleagues. McCarthy earned 203 votes on the first two ballots, 202 on the third, and 201 on the fourth and fifth. So he's losing ground. Anyway, isn't that special, though? Isn't that special? Cori Bush. She's a rocket scientist extraordinaire. Now, it's interesting because there has some kind of some polling on this issue. And according to PJ Media, a significant majority of Republican voters agree with the GOP rebels. The Republican establishment that still believes they can manage voters' expectations to maintain the status quo may want to do a reality check. The base had high expectations in 2022, and the elections did not meet those expectations. Many voters suspect that at least some establishment Republicans put a greater emphasis on ensuring that candidates tied to President Trump did not win than on winning back the Senate and a more significant majority of the House. Gee, we're talking to you, Mitch McConnell. Then the GOP members they did manage to elect voted to keep the wildly unpopular Mitch McConnell as Senate Republican leader. Then, with a Real Clear Politics average favorability rating of negative 33%, McConnell turned around and betrayed Republican voters by helping Democrats pass a $1.7 trillion with a T dollar omnibus package along with 17 of his colleagues. No one should be surprised that Republican voters are fed up. They are organized the Tea Party and elected candidates who promised fiscal responsibility. When that did not work, they elected a reality television star as president. Yet the incumbents in Washington still don't learn. You're going to learn. You're going to learn. So while CNN wrings its hands about Republicans' chaos and Karl Rove lectures the Freedom Caucus on TV, voters want to change and are getting ready to close their wallets. Republican voters are furious about the failure of their party to deliver results in 2022, especially given the disastrous mismanagement of the country by the Biden administration and their allies in Congress. Voters believe that the only way to hold the GOP accountable for its failures is to make way for new leadership, says Mark Meckler, president of the Convention of States. A new poll from his organization in partnership with the Trafalgar Group supports Meckler's thesis. They are angry at the Republican Party and congressional leadership, and more than 60% feel that the party leadership was ineffective at getting GOP candidates elected. About 1/3 see the group as somewhat effective, while the other third, see them as very ineffective. Only 8.2% think the party and congressional leaders are very effective during the 2022 cycle. And then even bigger majority of respondents want to replace Ronna McDaniel as chair of the Republican National Committee. Agreed. And also, only 5.6% of GOP voters said they want her to stay. That's all. 73.5% want her replaced. So please, if you have any ties to anyone who votes for this shit, Harmeet Dillon, that's who they should put in her place. This trends very closely with 68% who believe the RNC was ineffective in getting... I'm sorry, I skipped something there. Oh, no, that's right. Were ineffective in getting Republicans candidates elected. Oh, I did skip that. In similar numbers, Republican voters seem willing to use their wallets to make a point. At 44% plurality says they are less inclined to donate money to the Republican Party or Republican candidates after 2022. This could be due to the well-publicized accusations that Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell pulled funds from disfavored candidates while diverting dollars to incumbent Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski, who is also widely unpopular with the Republican base. And I just said that. Without even reading it, I said that. Hello, member of the public. Nice to see you. Welcome to the show over on Rumble. And also, thanks, Chicago Mike, dropping a Lincoln in the tip jar over on YouTube. Thank you, sir. Who says, let's see, you're not black if you don't vote Democratic. Who said that? I forget. Not really. Man. Yes, if you don't vote for, if you vote for Trump, you're not black. Well, I guess in 2020 I was not black because I did vote for the guy with the funny hair. I didn't in 2016. That's I made a famous video about that. But in 2020 I said, no, we're not putting Joe Biden in office. And we did. You know, they said if I voted for Donald Trump, we'd be in very economic hard times. Hey, and they were right. I mean, you know, it happened. So Anyway, the point is, the people who give money to Republicans, the people who vote for Republicans, they agree with the 20, at least according to one poll. Okay, spelled P-O-L-L. So many people on Twitter spell poll wrong. They, what about that poll? P-O-L-E. I don't want to hear about your poll. Okay, that's it. Anyway, let's see now. Another article in PJ Media says, don't buy the establishment spin on the House Speaker. By the way, can we get an FTG for, who said that about, what was that? I can't remember who else did the FTG. Oh, we already did. Dan Crenshaw. That's right. Never mind. We already gave one. You can give another one. Go ahead and throw another FTG out for Dan Crenshaw. All right, don't buy the established spin on the House Speaker fight. This is an editorial. As of publishing time, Representative Kevin McCarthy has lost 6 votes in his bid to be House Speaker, and there seems to be no end in sight. There are around 20 Republican holdouts in the Never McCarthy camp, and they're showing no signs of budging. Former President Trump's Donald Trump even endorsed McCarthy. I don't know why. Anyway, former President Donald Trump's last-minute endorsement failed to move the needle towards McCarthy, which led Representative Lauren Boebert, one of Trump's most staunch supporters, to admonish him on the House floor. Good for her. And I don't think she's not brilliant, but, there you go. FTG Ike Patch McCain. Yeah, exactly. She said, let's stop with the campaign smears and tactics to get people to turn against us. Even having my favorite president call us and tell us we need to knock this off, Boebert said on Wednesday. I think it actually needs to be reversed. The president needs to tell Kevin McCarthy that, sir, you do not have the votes. It is time to withdraw. Meanwhile, Republican establishment types are running around with their hair on fire, shouting about unity and warning that Republicans will pay a steep price unless they can show a united front in the early days of their House majority. No, I don't care about showing unity. I want them to actually fight for things that are important. Meanwhile, Republican establishment types are running around with their, hogwash. One way or another. This will be all over in a few days, and we'll get back to binge-watching mindless dramas on Netflix and planning our Super Bowl parties. A month from now, Representative Jim Jordan will be holding hearings that won't result in any Democrats paying a price for their treachery during Trump's presidency. The House will once again be spending money like drunken sailors, and Congress will continue to go get next to nothing useful done for the American people. Lather, rinse, repeat. You know what? If they wanted to do something useful, I'm going to say this over and over. If they want to do something useful, spend a year repealing laws. Don't write a new law of anything. Just spend an entire year repealing stupid laws. That would be a good idea. Anyway, delaying the start of the congressional session by a few days or even a month won't matter one iota. By the time the 2024 election rolls around, no one will care that there was a protracted fight for House Speaker in 2023. Yet, GOP chairwoman Ronna McDonald, I'm sorry, it's Ronna McDaniel, was all over the news yesterday warning that we're doing exactly what the Democrats want. No, you're not. The Democrats want to start writing more laws, and you're not doing it right now because you're having a House Speaker fight. I'd be fine if you did this for 6 months. Anyway, she said, as long as we're fighting each other, we're not keeping our eye on the prize, McDaniel said on Fox News. I think we have to get the speakership settled, and we have to go forward if we're going to be successful in 2024 as a united party. No, no, have some principles. You know what? I don't care if you're not doing anything right now. Stand on some principles that you clearly do not have. Texas Representative Anthony Gonzalez said that the 20 holdouts are, quote, preventing this commitment to America, and declare that this is now a time for unity. No, good for them. Hello, Jay Wolf. He said, I think beyond the Republican Party, there are people who want to see the country come together, he added, suggesting that he might be willing to work with Democrats to get McCarthy elected. These folks are beyond coming over, and you have to find another path. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee said that 10% of the House members are holding 90% of their fellow Republicans hostages. On principle. Good God, this is insane. He said Kevin needs to stand strong. No. Anyway, what we're witnessing now is the messy, glorious Republican form of government our founding fathers laid out in the Constitution. Many Americans are tired of the uniparty. Shit, I lost space. That exuberantly passes pork-laden omnibus spending bills in the dead of night and plays Marquise de Queensberry rules. Anyway, as our country plunges towards insolvency, immorality, and anarchy. Look, I'm not going to read any more of this. You can read the rest yourself, but yeah, I don't want it to be status quo. I don't want it to be business as usual. I want somebody to start saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be passing 4,100-page omnibus spending bills 3 days after it hits our desk because nobody had a chance to really read it with a bunch of pork-laden nonsense and shit that the federal government shouldn't be paying for in the first place. How about that? What you got to say about that? Now, speaking of Democrats, as we mentioned in that article, and I'm almost done here, I promise. Apparently, House Democrats have been floating a unity speaker possibility amid GOP speaker debate. House Democrats on Wednesday floated the idea to elect a so-called unity speaker after a Republican House majority failed to elect Representative Kevin McCarthy during Tuesday's 3 rounds of voting. Representative Pete Aguilar, a Democrat from California who nominated Hakeem Jeffries for the speakership position, told Punchbowl News that Democrats would be open to working with Republicans to elect a speaker. The maneuver would have to satisfy some Democrats and many establishment Republicans. That's what we don't want. I'm done with the fake bipartisanship bullshit. Anyway. We would look at that, but I haven't seen any proof that Republicans are willing to engage. Yeah, because you probably want to put some Democrat up there. Sorry, Charlie. On Tuesday, McCarthy was 16 votes shy of the threshold. 20 GOP lawmakers told 10% of the Republican House majority, about 10% of the Republican House majority opposed McCarthy. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez also floated the idea of a unity government Wednesday. Speaking with the Daily Beast, she said a unity speaker is not outside the realm of possibility, but that if the idea came to fruition, McCarthy would not be the candidate Democrats would back. Yeah, okay, I don't even know who are the most wishy-washy Republicans. They'd probably want someone who voted to impeach Trump. This is probably where they would go. There's a few of them left, and or no, did they? I think there's only 2 left. I can't remember, but that's probably where the Democrats would go. On MSNBC Tuesday evening, Ocasio-Cortez tried to drive a wedge between McCarthy and the 20 conservative holdouts. Like, as if there wasn't already a wedge. Who wrote this for Breitbart? This isn't Nolte, is it? No, it's Wendell Hasibo or somebody like that. Well, let's see about this wedge. I do not believe that Kevin McCarthy has the votes. No, he doesn't. I believe that a lot of the opposition to him is very personal. No, it's not. It's not personal. But he's a California Republican. That's what he is. And we don't, unless it's, who's the dude? There was one dude from California that, what was that guy's name? I'm not fond of California Republicans. Basically, they're just, in California, a Republican is just Democrat light. Anyway, oh, and then somebody, who's this? Representative Marcy Kaptur from Ohio. If there's any scenario where she'd support fellow Ohio Republican Jim Jordan for Speaker. Oh, asked if she would support Jim Jordan. I've never seen him be a voice for Ohio. He operates theoretically in a space that doesn't yield anything for his district or anything for the state. I was thinking today, I wish I could be a part of some kind of unity caucus that would yield McCarthy the votes because the Republicans hold the majority and maybe put us in a special category. I don't care. I don't care what Democrats think right now. I think the Republicans get their shit together. Now, the Democrat side of the House called to order as Representative Kamek rebukes popcorn, blankets, and alcohol. This is weird. I don't want Jim Jordan either because I think he's more effective on committees. Anyway. Democrats in the U.S. House Representative were called to order Wednesday after Republican Florida Representative Kat Kamek slammed them, saying they want to divide the GOP while drinking alcohol, eating popcorn, and wearing blankets in the Capitol. They want us divided. They want us to fight each other. That much has been made clear by the popcorn, blankets, and alcohol that has coming over there. Kamek said in a speech during the leadership votes, the comments were met by boos, and the House was then called to order, prompting a tweet from CONGRESSMAN's Twitter account calling the incident booze over booze. Booze over booze. Yes, Devin Nunes. That's who I was thinking of. Okay, so here's what I don't know what the hell. I don't even know what this means.
Thought is a good thing, but they want us divided. They want us to fight each other. That much has been made clear by the popcorn and blankets and alcohol that is coming over there.
Oh, she's really proud of herself.
The House is not in order.
Oh, they were a little testy about that.
The House is not in order.
This sounds like British Parliament right now.
The clerk would ask all members-elect to abide by the established decorum of the House while making nominations. Gentlewoman is recognized.
Scalise kind of liked that comment. I don't know what that's about. They're not happy. They're not happy, though. They're not happy. Anyway. All right. Let's get a couple things that are not House related. George Soros doubles funding for left-wing legal group working to upend the Supreme Court. Yay! Progressive mega donor, the one who shall not be named, has ramped up donations to a group dedicated to packing the Supreme Court, signaling progressives' determination to reshape the judiciary even after a string of defeats. Demand Justice, which is the organization, raked in $4.5 million from Soros's Open Society Foundation to, quote, support policy advocacy on court reform, end quote. The 2021 fiscal year tax filings show that's nearly double the $2.5 million Soros gave to the group in 2018 when it formed to oppose Justice Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation. Soros' increased donations could buoy Demand Justice as the group fights to regain ground. The past 2 years saw the group suffer major setbacks. Good! Including the confirmation of 2 conservative justices and a centrist Democrat cooling on efforts to set the Senate filibuster and pack the court. Demand Justice does not seem willing to back down, an attitude that was signaled by the group's call to intensify protests during the court's last term as its conservative wing delivered historic victories in abortion and Second Amendment rights. In the wake of leaked 2022 Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization decision, Demand Justice Executive Director Brian Fallon called for the removal of protective fencing around the court to help protesters provide, quote, more accountability of justice. That's an interesting way to put it. Take down the fences so we can provide more accountability of the justice. Anyway, and he says SCOTUS leaks are good, he said on Twitter. Rip the veil off. Anyway, so it almost sounds like he's making threats to the Supreme Court. Anyway, the fact that Soros is ramping up money to this organization probably should not have you smiling at all whatsoever. Good morning, T-Ball, by the way, and also Asian Research Directorate. I see you all dropped in. Let me finish up with a couple things here. What is this? I can't remember. Oh, so apparently Jordan Peterson... these are odds and ends, obviously. Jordan Peterson ordered to report to a re-education camp for criticizing Trudeau. This is what he tweeted. Breaking. The Ontario College of Psychologists has demanded that I submit myself to mandatory social media communication retraining with their experts for, among other crimes, retweeting Pierre Poilievre and criticizing Justin Trudeau and his political allies. I'm to take a course of such training with reports documenting my, quote, progress, end quote, or face an in-person tribunal and suspension of my right to operate as a licensed clinical psychologist. About a dozen people from all over the world submitted complaints about my public statements on Twitter and Rogan over a 4-year period out of 15 million who follow me on social media, claiming that I had harmed people, not them, with my views. I have been accused of harming people, although none of the complainants involved in the current actions were clients of mine, past or present, or were acquainted with any of my clients. And even though many of them falsely claim that they were or had been clients of mine, and were allowed by CP Ontario to have their complaints investigated despite this falsehood. So apparently, let's see. And he goes on to say, we're now in a situation in Canada under Justin Trudeau where practicing professionals can have their livelihoods and public reputations threatened in a very serious manner for agreeing with the official opposition and criticizing major government figures. Canadians, your physicians, lawyers, psychologists, and other professionals are now so intimidated by their commissar overlords that they fear to tell you the truth. This means that your care and legal counsel has been rendered dangerously unreliable. So basically, he got a few shot fired in there while he was complaining. So if you want to hear about the his struggle session that he is supposed to comply with, you can read the rest of that. It will be in the link at the end of the show. I'm gonna close this out. But there are a couple other articles in here. One talking about the coup we never knew. Victor David Hansen talking about the non-existent southern border right now and how much it's costing us and how, suddenly, well, here's the leading paragraph. Did someone or something seize control of the United States? What happened to the U.S. border? Where did it go? Who erased it? Why? And how did 5 million people enter our country illegally? Did Congress recently repeal our immigration laws? Did Joe Biden issue an executive order allowing foreign nationals to walk across the border and reside in the U.S. as they please? Okay, here's the answer. Of course they did. But anyway, really good article. You need to read that one. Also in the links today, Biden administration touts drained emergency oil reserves as the top 2022 accomplishment. Yeah, way to go, Joe. The Biden administration is touting its decision to drain the America's emergency oil reserves to historically low levels and sell millions of barrels to China and other foreign entities as one of its top accomplishments of 2022. The Energy Department in a December 23rd press release included its release of 190 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve as second on its list of top 2022 accomplishments. The department said the reserve sales protected global energy security. You know, they could have just figured out how to protect or allow the producers to produce instead of using up the reserves that are at their lowest level in 50 years. The department said the reserve sales protected global energy security, a far cry from its reason behind the sales in April, when the department said the release of 30 million reserve barrels would aid domestic consumers by addressing the pain Americans are feeling at the pump. So, yeah, that's a rhetorical shift, and they talk all about it in this article. If you're interested, it'll be in the link. Also, after 2 years of record illegal immigration, guess who's finally going to visit the southern border? Joseph Rahim Biden. President Joe Biden said he intends to visit the southern border for the first time in his presidency after facing growing criticism over the United States migrant crisis. That's my intention. We're working out the details now, Biden told reporters Wednesday about visiting the border during his trip to Mexico for the North American Leaders Summit next week. Well, insert your own rude comment here. All right. And then finally, let's see. I didn't have these on the screen. That's okay. Here's the Joseph Rahim Biden article. After 2 years of record illegal immigration, he's finally going to go to the border. Not that, look, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that the president or even the vice president, the border czar, so to speak, are required to go to the border. But at least they could do something about the border. Clearly, it's very obvious that during Joseph Rahim Biden's presidency, it's become a far, far worse issue than it was prior to him being there. So there has to be something to it. When you have like 8 times the number of people crossing the border illegally, perhaps there's a problem. Then maybe the prior administration had something there, had something, doing something right, Anyway, the other articles I have that I'm not getting to. One, also give the illusion Border Patrol agents and Union President pour cold water on Biden's planned border visit. So this is the shot. He's finally going to go to the border. Here's the chaser. The people who are at the border think it's probably just a sham. The Border Patrol agents and the force union leaders aren't convinced that President Biden's expected visit to the southern border will yield anything productive or expose him to the true depth of the crisis, they told the Daily Caller News Foundation. So they're skeptical, as am I and most Americans, I'm sure. Also in the links today, now, you know how some of them Republican governors were sending a lot of these migrants and asylum seekers. They've been sending them to like Chicago and New York City and whatever. They're busing them out east in Washington, D.C. Well, before it was the nasty Republican governors doing that, but now a Democrat governor is going to be doing the same thing. Colorado Governor Jared Polis is sending migrants to Chicago and New York City. New York City? Get a rope. Titan fan outlier. Nice to see you. Welcome. Chocolate milk matters. What? Why are we talking about chocolate? I love me some chocolate milk and chocolate chips and anything chocolate, but I'm curious where that's coming from. Anyway, Colorado Democratic Governor Jared Polis is preparing to bus migrants to Chicago, New York City, and other destinations. Will Democrats and their media allies call this a cruel political stunt, as they did with Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott? Colorado is busing migrants to New York and other major cities. Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's just wait for this to happen and see what they do. That'll be interesting. In a statement Tuesday, Polis said his administration is helping migrants reach their intended destinations because 70% don't plan to stay in Colorado. But Polis acknowledged the number of people being bused out of state has escalated in recent days to clear a backlog of people stuck in Colorado because of harsh winter weather. Colorado earmarked $5 million to assist people identified as migrants, including helping them purchase bus tickets. About half the money is allocated already. There's a lot of pent-up demand right now and a lot of frustration among our migrants who have been trapped for a week or two in a place they didn't want to be through no fault of their own. So it's interesting. So this is a Political article, or no, this is how Axios wrote it. Notice how Axios writes that. See, they're making it very clear that the governor's helping these poor migrants get to the destination where they want to be, and not just busing them away to like these cruel Republican governors who just do it as a publicity stunt. So there's a definitely different language. Is it human trafficking if the governor's a Democrat? Oh, now there are some. I believe this is called human trafficking because Dan Crenshaw. Yep, saying they're sending migrants to New York City. I believe this is called human trafficking or something. I was reliably told this was. So people are dragging them for that BS. All right, I think that's it. That's everything that's going to be in the tabs. I got to go, you guys. It's that time. Oh, and then Biden to increase fees for legal immigration to cover costs for processing illegals. That's going to be in the links too. That's unfortunate. All right, that's it. I'm out of time. I was out of time 15 minutes ago, so I got to get cracking. Hey, y'all, thank you for being here. If you haven't done so already, before you click anything else, click away or whatever, click the like button. Or if you're on Rumble, pound that plussy, that little plus sign there. If you're on a computer, if you're on a phone, hit the thumbs up. Same thing on YouTube. That would be very helpful to algorithmically. Also, please, if you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section, either on Rumble or on YouTube. And if you would be so kind, share the stream after the show. It works before, during, or after. But that's all I have time for. If you want to sponsor the show, pdognight.live 24 hours a day, YouTube Super Chats during the show, Venmo, Cash App 24 hours a day. I'll be putting all these articles in the link in the description of both channels during the outro. So if you want to hang around and click that to find out where all these articles are, it's a single link called the one tab link. One click, full page of everything we did today. So thank you. Gotta go. My name is P Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Hey, this is P Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.